All right. Nevertheless, a warm welcome to everybody who's present on the call. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Devdutt. I'm part of Atulya Performance Facilitators, which is one of the many things that I do in life. I'm a leadership development coach. I'm also an executive coach. I facilitate leadership programs for corporates. Yeah, that's as far as my profession is concerned. Uh, like I said, I do many other things which I'll spare you of right now. But really welcome. I mean, I'm so glad that all of you joined on a Saturday morning. There's so many other 100 things that you could have done this morning. You chose to be on this call, and it's really a privilege and an honor to have you, all of us on this call. We're going to talk about something extraordinary and something very dear to me personally, right? When I say dear, I hold this particular concept or this quality of a human being very, very dear to me, right? The power of the credibility aspect of a human being, right? So we're going to talk about that over the next 1 hour. And what we're going to talk about, of course, is part of what we call as the Causing Incredible Performance Framework, in short, CIP. That's the logo and the acronym you see behind Balaji in the background behind Nidhi. So that also gives me an opportunity to introduce them. Balaji is the founder of the CIP framework and also the co-founder of Atulya Performance Facilitators, the organization that brings the CIP framework to you. Uh, I'll come back to this slide. So a little bit about the framework. The organization. Also Nidhi, who's on the call, she's the co-founder as well, along with Balaji. And I'm a director in the organization with Balaji, Nidhi. We have another colleague with us called Neeraj, who's not there on the call today. Right. So quickly on the mission of the organization, right? To like really we are out to empower who, right? Public leaders across, we've said India specifically, but really the globe, right? And to do what? To create bold impacts in matters that really matter to public. And we have a number attached to that, as you can see. We want to impact at least 10,000 people on or before December 31st, 2028. So that's the clarity with which we're going about doing what we do, right? And there are certain values that we operate from, as you can see on the screen right now. We operate from a very high level of commitment. And commitment to what? Commitment to results, right? So that's an area that, okay, just give me a minute. I'm a little all over the place with regard to the screen. Sorry for that. Oops. Yeah. Right. And we operate from, and something that we're going to talk about today in some detail, if not great detail, about what we may do, like say do integrity or say do ratio. The other thing that we really cognizant about and always aware of is to keep it simple, right? Keep the framework simple, keep the conversations simple, but really make it impactful for our audience, for our clients. We also operate from a high level of ownership and empowerment. Again, something that we'll talk about today. And of course, collective joy in the impact. Like everybody who experiences this, the public leaders that we're talking about, like all of you who are there on the call, plus your public leaders, right? There's a collective joy in the impact that you are creating. So we're very joyful about what you are up to as well. And we could only be available for you as a support in whatever you endeavor to be through the CIP framework, of course, right? So what are we going to do on this call? Again, quickly, I won't get into the details on this slide because the next 55 minutes is about all of this. We're going to talk about something called as the say-do ratio and the importance of that, that say-do ratio that we maintain to our causing results. How important is that? And that's the quality of a human being to maintain that high say-do ratio, right? Also, the language of ownership. In fact, one kind of segues into the other. When somebody is out to maintain a high level of say-do ratio, they also, manage a language. The way they speak, right, is one of ownership. And in contrast to one of, the language of renunciation. Again, we'll spend some time on that today. And towards the end of the call, we'll also give you an opportunity to take action in causing incredible performance. There are several ways in which you can do that, right? So we'll give you all those different pathways to step into, this side of the world, right? So there are several ways, as I said, we'll give you all that opportunity, right? So with that in the background, any questions before we begin with this conversation? Anything on the top of your head? How about, hey, this, that? So that, my intention is that you're fully here. You're fully in this conversation. There's nothing niggling in the background about this seminar. Any questions, anyone?
Top of my mind, Dev.
Yes.
I'm little burdened by simplicity, so to say.
Okay. You're
I,
burdened by
I
simplicity.
come across like a very complex guy in my speaking.
Okay.
So I am like a burden to be simple on this conversation. I know I'm listening most of the time. So that's why I just want to, that's the top of my mind right now.
Right. Thank you for sharing that, Sunil. Thanks. Thank you so much. I'll not address that right now on this call, but we can always take it later. But for now, since you said most part of it you're listening, I'd like to say that most parts we are engaging in a conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So you might speak and it's okay. It's okay. That's a value that we hold very. It's okay. The way you speak is absolutely okay for us.
Got it. Thanks for that.
Thank you. And thanks for saying it. Thanks for putting it out there. Anybody else? All right. So I'm going to start with a question for all of you. When you look at your own life, right? And I mean by life, look at different aspects of your life. Look at your careers, look at your health, look at your wealth, look at your furthering your education, look at hobbies, look at relationships, and you can go on and on, right? There are many things I can add to this list. But when you look at your own life, all of it together, the question that I have for you to explore or think about, do you see a life as you plan, or do you see one that is happening to you? And you're welcome to unmute and speak, or you're welcome to put it up on chat. And I'll request my colleague Nidhi to keep a track of what you're saying on chat.
I can start, Dave. Good
Yes,
morning,
Dilip.
by
Hey,
the way.
hi,
Yes,
welcome. Dilip,
yes, welcome. Thank you very
nice
much.
to see
Yes,
you. Yeah.
yes. Thank you very much for inviting. And first of all, I wanted to tell you that, and
Yeah.
then I also I like the question, by the way. I can so relate to it. Uh, okay, 10 years ago, or maybe we
Mhm.
say 15 years ago. Do you see your life as you plan? Yes, I used to. Now, after experience, okay, about 10 to 12 years, or maybe even 15 years, I think things are happening to me.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, it is happening to all of us. We just have to be aware and then go through it, is what I feel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Thank you for sharing that, Dilip.
yeah,
Sunil, I'll come to you. Dilip,
yeah,
since you
yeah.
shared, you may not want to share with us right now, and I'm welcome if you share as well.
Mm-hmm,
Just think about what changed. Because 10, 12 years back, you said it was as you planned, but now
mm-hmm,
it is happening to you,
mm-hmm.
right? And you also use the word we, it's happening to all of us.
Uh-huh.
I have a slightly different opinion, may not be,
Okay, okay.
maybe, I don't know. Your experience is yours,
No,
right?
yeah, I will be
So,
safe. I get what you're saying. I will be safe
yeah.
right now. Since you mentioned it, I would want to talk only for myself. So I.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for accepting that.
Yeah.
And just think about what changed in the last 10, 12 years,
Okay.
right?
So
Just think about it.
yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Is, is
Actually,
it
I've
is it
been
okay I
thinking.
come back to you, Dilip?
No problem at all. No problem at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Sunil, you
Yeah.
were about to say something.
Yeah. I don't see a position to answer this question, this or that, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
There are times when it is going, life is happening as I'm planning. There are times when life is happening,
mm-hmm.
right? And if I want to go a little deeper,
Yeah.
I would say at the macro level, little delayed, but in the direction of the planning,
Hmm.
with the
Fair.
hope that it will happen. and not like a hope in the air with some evidence, some confidence of the work being done, all that. But on a day-to-day basis, life is happening.
Got
Life
it.
is happening on a day-to-day basis, right? Lived as a
Got it.
lived phenomena right now. If you are, life is happening.
Life is happening,
Yeah,
which is in contrast to not as planned.
yeah, yeah. At the
Got
micro
it.
level of
Yeah.
presence, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Cool. So what I hear you say, Sunil, is there are certain areas, certain aspects of life where it's going as planned, certain may not be the way it is. I mean, it's not going as planned, it's happening to you.
yeah,
And there's some of it is in between, right?
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
it's going according to plan, but not at the pace that I wanted to. And you have evidence, you have hope that it's
yeah,
going in the right direction, and
yeah,
you have evidence to have that hope.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Got it. Great. Thanks for sharing that, Sunil. Wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll take one more response.
Devdutt, there are comments from three
Yes.
people on the chat.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you read them or do you want me to read them for you?
No, I'd invite you to read them.
Yeah. Come again?
I would invite you to read them.
All right. Okay. So Suresh has written it's a mix of both. Srinivasan has written had that changed too in that direction, which is referring to Dilip's comment. At that
Okay.
time, he also wrote. So he's
Okay.
concurring with Dilip. Then
Okay.
Soya Varghese has written, it's a mix of both for me. It's more about exploring something new every day. I'm excited, but also a little scared to see what each new day brings.
All right. Great. So now, thank you everybody who shared. Thank you so much. And what I hear you, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I hear you say is, hey, there are certain areas of life which are going as planned, and certain areas are not. Right? If I can make that distinction, I think that's where the thing is, hey, partly yes, partly no. Right? But overall, there's a certain experience, right? Like Sunil was mentioning at a micro level, macro level, there's a certain experience that's there. So I'd now invite you to look at certain areas of life, specific areas of life, where you want to cause an incredible result, or leave the word incredible for now, where you want to cause an extraordinary result. How is it going there? Or specific areas of life where you're committed to you want to cause a certain result. How is it going there? For some of you, it might be your career. For some of you, it might be a relationship. For some of you, it might be health. Like it could be different for different people. So take one such area and tell me how is it going there? As planned or is happening?
Both. To me,
Both. Okay.
on all aspects of life, to be honest. So I've got a pattern to work with this. So what I do is I work on consistency rather than task, right? So yeah, be consistent on what you're trying to achieve, and it might take a long period of time, but then when you're consistent, you see what works and you see what doesn't work, so you make these changes and then go ahead towards your goal.
All right. So, Dilip, if I can pause you there, which area are you referring to? Which area of life were you referring to?
I think pretty much everything. So with my business, yes. With my personal life, yes. With my spiritual life, yes. With my music, yes. With all my personal relationships, yes. Every
Yes,
single
what? Yes, meaning?
I work on it every single day, but consistently. Not give it a lot of time at once and then later you're exhausted and then you go back. So I used to do that before, and now I don't. Now I work on it every single day consistently, and I still haven't achieved it, by the way. I'm still working on it, so the end result is not there, but I can see I do mistakes. I work on them, and sometimes if I do feel that something is going well, then I make sure that it goes well. I also give importance to things which are going well. Yeah, so that's how I go about it, but not necessary that I've achieved what I want to achieve. So I'm still working towards it, but what I look for is the consistency and the work you put into it every single day.
All right. Got it. Brilliant. Thank you for elaborating on all of that. Yes, great. Can I get a couple of more responses, or if there's anything on chat,
Yes,
maybe?
there is.
Yeah.
So Vivekanand has written, I was surprised I achieved as per the plan.
You're surprised?
He wrote that, yes. And
I'd
there
like to
is a
know more about the surprise part. If it's
definitely.
according to plan and you're surprised. All right. Okay. Got it.
One more from Neha,
Yeah.
saying not good happening.
Not good. It's happening. Neha, which aspect of life, if you don't mind sharing? All
So,
right.
Dev, if I may, sorry, Vivek here.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you specific. I always wanted to buy my own home by the age
Uh-huh.
I was before 40.
Okay.
And I had planned it meticulously right from the day I completed my 12th. And I started working part time and doing everything. And every time I would feel I was close by when after I joined full time transition to profession, right? Every time I came close, it felt somehow it was slipping away, slipping away, slipping away. And it seemed like I was like, okay, if it happens, it happens. I have planned whatever I can, but you know, if it's within my control, then I'll buy it, right? And all of a sudden, within a matter of 2 months, suddenly everything fell into place, and I honestly was surprised. How did it happen? Right?
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Vivek, you said? Was
Yes.
that Vivek? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Vivek. Yeah. And congratulations that it happened to you. Right?
So,
It's,
Devdutt, Neha has written she's
yeah.
not able to unmute for some reason, but
Okay.
in
Okay.
career and health, she's saying the two major areas where it's happening.
Happening. Right? It's not going as per plan. It's happening. All right.
Do you have
I
a
have,
time? Can I
yes,
also
Sunil?
share something?
Yes,
Yeah,
please. Yeah.
thank you. One of the things specific that does not seem to be going as per and plans are
Sunil,
revamped
Sunil, your voice is cracking. It's not smooth and clear.
now.
You'll have to
Am I
speak.
audible now?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll keep my video off. What I was saying is one of the specific aspect of the project that we are doing seems to be slipping now and then, no matter whatever plan A is failing, plan B we are making. And that specific aspect is recruitment from two ends. One is recruitment of the coach for the program. Just for the background for people who are listening, we run an academy for training people in sports, right? And specifically for people with a disability, wheelchair tennis. There, the current challenge is recruitment, both from the participant side and the coach's side, because this is a very new, because is what my analogy, right? I don't know what I'm not doing or what I'm doing I shouldn't be doing. My reasoning, my logic says it is because it is very new. The relevance of the work is not yet established in the country. From the relevance point of view, where I am seeing, right? So there seems to be a no alignment. That's my logic why things are not working. Maybe that's why the plans are failing. So that's where I am. Where a lot of energy, time, money is getting spent correlated to that, we are not producing the result that we are, even the basic standard we are not meeting.
Got it. Wonderful, Sunil. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. So here's my assumption, right? That we'll all have certain areas of life which are going as planned. And there will be certain areas of life which are not, right? Now, whether they are important, not so important, medium important, low important, they are aspects of life. And they're like in that sense, it's certain areas are going as per plan. Now, I would invite you to look at one of such area of your life where things are not going as per plan, right? And I want you to look at that particular area of your life in more detail in the last 30 days. Now, 30 days is just a number. You might look at anything that you can remember in the near future. It could be a week also, or it could be 15 days, whatever you can recollect. But more importantly, I want you to jog your memory down and say, hey, how many of the commitments that you made either to yourself or to others, how many of those were met? How many of those commitments were met? You made those commitments either to yourself or to others. So it could be an aspect of health, like you told yourself, hey, I am going to do an exercise for 5 days in a week for the next 30 days, and you said that 30 days back. And now when you look back, you're saying, hey, hold on, I didn't do it. I might have done, but not 5 days per week as I planned, 15 minutes every session, like that level of clarity if you had, right? Or it could be something like, I said I will save certain money from the revenue that I get. I'm going to keep that aside and save it for a certain reason. And you look back now and said, hey, no, I did not save that. Right? Or it could be an aspect of reaching out to a certain X number of customers or prospective customers this month with a scheme. And now you look back and you said, hey, maybe I did not, or I did not. Now, the reason why you didn't keep it, that we'll keep it aside for some time. There might be a valid reason why you didn't do it. But the fact is, did you keep your commitment? Did you not? And if you could put a number around that, like a percentage between 0 and 100, what percentage of your commitments did you meet? Can you type that number on chat, all of you? All right, so Momita says wherever there is an external factor or stakeholder involved, for example, work 80 to 90, but whatever it's about just my personal goals, 50%. Okay. Suresh says 5%. Sunil says 15, 25, 40. Really, I'm so glad, that we have honest audience here. Thank you so much. This week I was deliberate, hence 80%. Great, thank you. Vivekanand, 30 to 35%. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the range. I'm perfectly all right with the range as well. Right? 20%, 25 to 50%, 60%, career-wise, 90%, personal, 20%, 25%. All right. For personal, Neha, what is that? Last week, 80% at work. All right, great. Now, here's one of the things a term that we use quite frequently. What do you think this gap is? Right? When you say 80%, there's a gap, right? Between whatever you said you would do, the commitment that you made, and what you delivered. Right? There's a gap, right? I see, and this is applicable to all the people who on this call, whoever have shared at least, because I don't see 100% in any of what you said, and that's okay. I'm not finding fault or pointing a finger at you. I'm just going by the data over here. What do you think what is that gap called? What do you think we should call that gap? The gap between what you committed and what you delivered.
What I said and what I did.
Absolutely. Right? In the real world, we call it the say-do ratio. Right? There's a term which is very frequently used. I've heard it a number of times in the corporate for sure, and I'm beginning to hear it quite frequently, even otherwise outside also. In the CIP, in our framework, right? We have a different we have a term for it, right? We call that the say-do ratio also. We also call it the commit and account. And that's the fundamental principle that we introduce to everybody who gets coached from us in causing incredible performance, right? It's, as we say, it's the fundamental or the foundation of the foundation principle. And we address this aspect of say-do ratio. Now, specifically, what does this mean? What is your say-do ratio? As Sunil rightly said, right? Oops, sorry, I messed up something. Okay. All of you can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's the ratio between what you commit to what you actually deliver. It's the ratio between what you promise, either to yourself or to others, promise to do or promise to achieve, You say, I'll do this, I'll achieve this, I'll make sure I get so many inquiries, I'll make sure this position is filled up, I'll make sure that my weight reduces by 1 kg this week, right? I'll make sure I'll make this saving. So you're committing to achieving something, and what you actually achieved or what you actually delivered. So that gap, that ratio is called as the say do ratio, right? Now,
I have
as
a
we,
question.
in a moment, Sunil, I'll come to
Okay,
that.
sure.
It's what we say is also the credibility of who you are or the credibility of your word. The other term, and that's the title of the seminar as well, credibility, the power of credibility of who you are. And to a large extent, your say-do ratio actually as an indication of your relationship with yourself. It's an indicator of your relationship with yourself. Now, if it's like somebody said, hey, 5%, that doesn't mean it's not like bad, right? But when you're out to cause an incredible result in your life, in any area of your life, this particular ratio is a non-negotiable. You maintaining a very, very high level of say-do ratio is a non-negotiable in causing incredible result. Now, when you take up our programs, we will actually support you in maintaining this high level of, keeping your word, keeping your promises, keeping your commitment. In short, a high credibility for your own word. And that's what you get coached in as well. Before I move to the next slide, Sunil, yes, go ahead.
I mean, I have some the say do ratio. I'm being very literal here in my question, and the explanation came. I was assuming when I said the gap, like doing, like I said, did I show up in my gym 5 times? Did I practice music 5 days a week? They all I can relate to as doing.
Yeah.
Because I said I'll show up. I'll say 20 minutes I'll practice. I said I make 15 calls.
Yeah.
I can clearly relate to that. I said I will do it.
Yeah.
But that I'm internally debating and arguing with myself. I never said I'll produce a result if I have not said.
Yeah.
So even
Correct.
to how do we interpreting do? Do is an action that I can do. My commitment.
Yeah.
So there seems to be some sort of a wiring mistake in my brain, which is not understanding why are we saying do, but in explanation we are saying achieve.
Yeah. That's why there's if you go back to the values, you remember one of the values that we
Yeah,
operate from is a high level of commitment to results,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm using the commonly used term called say do, where the focus is on the action, the doing.
Got it. Okay, okay,
But in CIP, in our framework, it is on results. It's on achieving.
okay,
So
okay.
ideally, if I had the power to, like help somebody change that term and say, hey, say achieve, right? And that's
Yeah,
why you remember I said the frame in our framework, we call it commit and
yeah,
account for what you said you
yeah.
will achieve. Your promise is
Got it.
always to achieve something. By the way, Sunil, in the background, if you take a closer look at what you said, you going to the gym 5 times a week is to cause a result, isn't it? It's not just to
Absolutely,
show up there and do something.
absolutely.
That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is every action that one takes, there is always a result that action produces.
True. Yeah, yeah,
Every action produces some result. And by
yeah.
the way, you will get to see whether it's the desired result or not is something that we can deliberate or speculate on. And
Yes.
if it's not causing the result that you want to, and if you're still taking the same action,
Yeah,
right, then that amounts to you know what I'm referring to, the
yeah,
definition
yeah,
of insanity, right?
yeah,
Doing the same thing over and over again and not producing a different, I mean, wanting to produce a different result,
yeah.
right? So you might have said that, hey, I'll go to my music class or I'll practice music, but if you're not getting the notes right, then maybe what you're doing is not the what you should be doing.
Now I'm fundamentally challenged not doing it itself. Forget about result and looking
Right.
at it. 5 times showing up. I'm so messed up in managing other people saying what they'll do in action basis. I hardly get to 15% of the action that I plan to attend to. I experience being like a micromanaging or managing the team's action, empowering them every moment. That's where I'm coming from. My challenge, I'm not even showing up. It's a very senior conversation for me to talk about results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunil. I mean, you're being very honest on this call, and I really appreciate that. Uh, Thank you. In fact, it gives me a segue to talk about. You talked about something about the wiring in the brain. You're not alone in this, Sunil.
Yeah.
Research says, and Balaji can talk about that research later, that more than 90% of people have focus on task and not on result.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in the CIP framework, we actually get you to see where is your focus. Are you focusing on actions or are you focusing on results of those actions?
Yeah.
Right? Because somewhere that, as you said, we messed up that if I take the action that I think I'm supposed to take to cause the result, if the result didn't happen, then I'm giving up,
Yeah.
like that. But if our focus is on the result, so going back to the value, commitment to achieving the result, then we can alter our actions. But
I hear you there.
more about that when you take on the CIP framework and all of you more details about that then,
Okay.
right?
Thank you, there.
A little more, thanks, welcome, Sunil. A little more about this thing about credibility of your word. Um, what is it not, and what is it in contrast? One of it, the credibility of your word, or you maintaining a say-do ratio, high level of say-do ratio, you actually achieving what you said you would achieve, is not a default phenomenon. Just because you said it, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen automatically because you said it. Hey, I said I'll go to the gym. I'm just taking Sunil's example, by the way. Or I'll show up in my music class 5 days a week. Or I'll make 50 calls, or I'll cause 5 inquiries, or I'll make a sale of so many rupees this month. Right? If that's your word to achieving. By default, it's not going to happen. Just because you said it's not going to happen that way. So what is it then? It's a caused phenomena. You will have to deliberately make it happen. Right? So that's the first thing about the credibility of your word. The second one, it's not about what's the best efforts you put in. Hey, I put in, this is the best. I put in all my efforts. This is the best effort. And if that still didn't produce the result, consider that wasn't it. Right? As I said, it's about making it happen. It's about looking at, hey, what else can I do? What else can I see? Who else can I take support from? Who else? What else? Where else? Right? You're constantly looking at what's missing. If I bring in that, then it'll make it happen. Right? So credibility is not just about your best efforts. Sunil, you can relate to this. It's not just about the task, the efforts. It's about making the result happen.
Yeah.
Right? And third, it's not a wish. Like I said it, and now I wish it happens. Right? I hope it happens, like a pipe dream. It's not about that either. It's a commitment or a promise that you make to yourself, like a no nonsense. I will make this happen. So your credibility of your word is about causing it, which is about making it happen and giving that no nonsense promise to yourself that this shall be. I will make this happen. Now you're operating from that place, right? You're operating from that place and looking at, hey, what do I need to do? So let me pause here for some time. Any questions so far of what we've been discussing about the credibility of your word, the importance of it, or why is it, or how is it, or any questions, any thoughts, any comments, any how abouts?
I was wondering in an organizational perspective,
Mhm.
what you say may not be in your hands or what you commit. right? Your various levels within an organization. How do you handle that in the framework?
Suresh, could you give me an example that what you
Uh,
say is not in your hands? Can you give me an example
uh,
for that?
let's say targets are set out for an organization at
Mhm.
various levels, at various geographies, right? And people at the front end often don't have a say on what the targets are. So how does the framework handle it?
Like it's thrusted upon you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. At some point you said yes to it, no?
Yes. Yes.
At some point you said, yes, I agree, I'll do this. Whether
Okay.
willingly or not, you said it.
Mm.
Willingly or not, you said it. Or another way to look at it, when you signed up in that organization, you signed up for that culture.
Right.
You signed up for
Okay.
that culture of, hey, we don't agree, we just thrust it on you. Am I making sense? So, Suresh?
Yeah, you are. I'm just trying to understand how do we handle it when you come
Yeah,
across
that
people.
we'll come to that. Yes. You're in the right place. If you're wondering about how to handle that, we'll come to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at some point, and just continuing with what Suresh said, at some point you said yes to it. Willingly or unwillingly. I mean, you agreed to it. Any other question? Thoughts, comments? How about I'm taking a risk over here at this point, inviting Balaji. Anything you would like to add, Balaji? Okay. Sure.
What do you want?
Anything.
What
I
do you
mean,
want
anything about this conversation that you think we should add or elaborate on?
quickly, not
Yeah.
to find fault? The term say-do ratio is widely prevalent.
I
If
didn't hear
even
that
I
last
had
part.
a, the term say-do ratio is widely prevalent.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Credibility is actually about the do-say ratio.
Yeah.
So we said your credibility needs to be high, and the credibility is denoted by the ratio called say-do ratio. If the say-do ratio is high, what you say is far more than what you do,
Yeah, that,
which is a ulta
yeah, we
of
understand.
credibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's the
correct.
only thing I wanted to mention. Nothing
Mention.
wrong with
Yeah.
the term, but we have to turn ourselves upside down and look at the ratio.
Got it. Great. So just a
Some
question, I mean, a slide on why is this important, especially when you want to cause incredible result? Why is this necessary? And I'm saying this that, hey, in areas which I'm okay with whatever is happening. I mean, it's not going the way it is, but I'm okay with that. Then forget about say-do ratio. You don't need to maintain a high say-do ratio there. Let it be the way it is. But if you're committed to causing extraordinary results in certain areas of your life, like you want to cause it, what I mean by causing is deliberately make something happen and deliberately make an extraordinary result happen, then the credibility of your word is a non-negotiable. Why? First is because it builds a high level of trust. Trust with who? One is with yourself to begin with. Your reliability, your trust on yourself that, hey, when I say something, I will make it happen. You know, how many times I've heard this? I've heard this. I want you to see for yourself. Have you heard yourself saying that, hey, I can't rely on myself for this? You know, I've heard many people say this, hey, I can't rely on myself to come on time. I can't rely on myself to do something. In short, what are they commenting on? They can't trust themselves for something. Conversely, right? When you start maintaining a high say-do ratio, when you focus on this aspect of who you are, of that particular quality of yourself, you start accelerating things in your life. There's a certain, it drives certain level of performance that cannot be if you don't have this, right? It starts removing friction. There's a lot of unnecessary conversation that you don't pay attention to, in your thoughts, in your own head, right? Because it's all about causing it. It's all about, so because you gave a word to it, you'll cause it. And while you're doing that, you're creating a high level of psychological safety also for yourself. It's not like you're dangerous about it. It's not like you're arrogant about it, right? So first one is you build a level of trust. The second one, and I think it's important when you're working with others, and why is this necessary in that situation? Why is this necessary? It definitely creates a level of workability. And what I mean by workability is you're creating a condition for causing extraordinary result. And I'll give you an example. Let's say a bicycle, the wheel of a bicycle has how many spokes? Any guess? I know it varies, but a good cycle would have something about 64 spokes, right? Different wheels, different designs, but let's take a cycle which has 64 spokes. If I were to remove just one spoke from that bicycle, from that wheel, just one spoke I remove, will the bicycle cease to move from point A to point B? Will it stop working? What do you think?
It won't
Yes,
stop
no,
working.
it
No,
won't
no.
stop working, right? Then do you think it was there unnecessary? Do you think that spoke was an unnecessary addition to the design?
Not really.
Then it
Um,
didn't stop working, but it's still there.
yeah, you can't count on it for a long time. You need to have the right number of spokes. You can probably manage, but then managing is not going to give you that
Correct.
consistency.
Right. So what happened to the bicycle by reducing one spoke is you reduced the potential of that bicycle to produce maximum result that it is designed to produce. It's a long sentence, Bishwa. I'll say that again. You reduce the potential of that cycle to produce the result that it is designed to produce. So the potential of a human being reduces when their credibility reduces. You might still produce results. It's not that you cease to produce results if your say-do ratio is low, but your own potential to produce high results has reduced. And that's one of the reasons why maintaining high level of credibility is important to produce extraordinary results. Because in the absence of that, you'll still produce results, but not at the level that you're designed for. That you can, like your potential is there, right? So in all this together, I say workability. Why is it necessary? For workability. Third, right? It activates ownership. And I mentioned that this is also one of the values that we operate from. Because you want to cause that result and you're maintaining a high level of say-do ratio credibility, you start assuming control of your life. You start taking control of your life, which is you start owning things up, in contrast to finding fault with the environment, finding fault with somebody else, right? You are then in charge of what you're out to cause. Now, I know it's easy to say. There'll be situations where there is hierarchy, there are rules and policies, and I get all of that. But I'm saying, hey, rather than commenting, blaming, complaining about that of why you couldn't do something, when you're operating from a high level of credibility, you're always looking at, hey, what else can I do to make the change? What else can I do to make a difference over here? And I can give you a number of examples, but in the interest of time, right? We've got about 12 minutes left. I have one more concept. If you stay back, I can give you examples of many of these things, right? About how it activates ownership and how people produce results by doing this. Of course, the last one, your level of confidence in yourself, once again, right? Because you know yourself to be somebody who can take on a result. I mean, declare a goal, you can cause it. You operate from a high level of confidence in yourself. And give me one of these, take out one of these, and you produce extraordinary result. Take out trust, take out workability, take out ownership, take out confidence, and show me how can you produce extraordinary results. Almost impossible. And that's why this is a non-negotiable. Like I said, credibility of who you are for yourself is a non-negotiable when you want to produce extraordinary results. And this is one of the things that we do coach you in when you take on a project with us, when you learn the CIP framework, right? As to how do you do this? How do you maintain a high say-do ratio? This is one of the things that we coach you in. All right. I'm going to show you a video. And then based on this video, I'm going to ask you a question, right? In fact, the video is quite self-explanatory there by itself. But let's watch this video. Let me stop. Oh, no, maybe I can click on this. But before that, how do I ensure audio, Nidhi?
Okay. Give it a try. I
Okay.
think it'll work. Huh?
No, I'll stop sharing and reshare. This time I'll have to choose audio somewhere. Yeah, share sound. Can you all see my browser? Or you
Not
still
as
see
yet. We're still seeing your slide.
now?
Not it, Dev.
So let me give you another pop quiz. So look, okay.
I'm making some mistake.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can see
now,
your browser.
now.
Okay, by the way, the video is 12 minutes. I'm going to play only the first 5 minutes of it.
So let me give you another pop quiz. So look, okay, this is my prop. Okay, look, it's an experiment. So everybody can see the apple fall. Now, why? Please play with me. Just what's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the apple fall? Gravity. Great. I knew you would say that. I didn't bet you. Okay, I don't want to trick you. Okay, we have an alternative hypothesis. Someone says because I let it go. Do you agree with that too? Yeah. So here's a problem. We have two causes, but only one slot for an explanation. Because the first thing that comes to mind, one thing. So truth is not enough of a filter, because you get two truths. Truth is, it's gravity and I let it go. So why would you choose one or the other? But you have to choose one, okay? You have, your stack only allows for one answer. Which one are you going to put first? Well, I'll tell you the logic for the answer is that everything that happens in the world, everything, you can divide in two vectors. There's a set of causes that are within your control and a set of causes that are out of your control. That's always true. Anything that happens you can explain with these two vectors of variables. The question is, which one would you choose? Now, for those people that think that it's gravity, and they choose gravity and they only think of gravity, this is a miracle. What's the miracle? Well, I mean, gravity is there and it's not falling. How could that be? Gravity is what makes the apple fall. Now, of course, if you say let it go, that gives you operational power. The choice of the variable gives you tremendous operational power. But to get the power, you have to choose the variable that's in your control. If you choose gravity, you're doomed. You can't stop gravity. So if someone said, I don't want it to fall, so I can't, sorry, on Earth, I can't do this. But if you have the explanation in control, you say, of course, I don't let it go, it doesn't fall. Are we together? Why would anybody be so stupid as to choose an explanation that disempowers them? I mean, it sounds ridiculous, no? Have you ever been late to a meeting? Have you ever been in a meeting where someone else is late? I know, you're never late. The people that are not here are the ones that come, they're late here, they're late to the meetings. Now, you ask a person, why are you late? What's the typical answer? What do people say? I was stuck in another meeting. Another typical one? Traffic. Have you heard these ones? I was stuck in another meeting, I was in traffic. What kind of vector of variables is that? Is it in control or out of control? Can you control traffic? Can you control the other meeting? No. What can you control? What time you leave, and you can control whether you stay in the meeting or you leave the meeting. That's up to you. But nobody says, sorry, I am late because I chose to stay in the other meeting when it went over. I mean, that would be, that's the real answer. People say, I was stuck in the meeting. The meeting grabbed me. I just, let go, let go. No, yeah, it wouldn't let go. I thought I saw a bar here that's like The Office. It's called The Office. I don't know, Highway 101. So it's like, honey, sorry, I'm stuck at the office. When did you wake up? But very few people say, oh, I overslept. So this is the payoff. It's like, why would you choose these variables out of control? Because they make me innocent. It wasn't me, it was the meeting. The price of innocence is impotence. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You know, this was supposed to be a fun morning, I know. I had to ruin it. I'm so sorry. I hear the cries, you know, the moaning, but you know, that's me. That's what I enjoy doing. I like breaking people's hearts. This is what I call the philosophy of the victim. A victim is a person, now victimhood is not a moral injunction. Victim is a person that privileges explanations with exogenous factors. That's what a victim is. Whenever something goes wrong, you choose an explanation that will focus on factors that are out of your control. So I'm going to play a clip for you, and I want you to think, why are these people stuck? Why would they say they're stuck?
All right, you like the video? By the way, the speaker, Fred Kaufman, he's a senior person with LinkedIn Learning, right? And he's part of the learning team there with LinkedIn, right? And this is a conversation that he's having with the LinkedIn employees internal meeting, which is of course aired and is publicly available on YouTube as well. So if you're interested, you can look for Fred Kaufman, and there are multiple videos of him, right, talking to his employees. This is one of them, right? So going back, right, the question that I have for all of us on this call, what reasons do you give yourself for the gap? Remember, we talked about the gap between what the word that you gave and what you do. What are the reasons that you give yourself? Some of you said 80%, some of you said 5%, and I saw that was the range. I think somebody also said 95%, right? So there's a range that I had in people on this call about keeping their word from 5% to 95%. So what reason do you give yourself for not keeping your word 100%? What you want to look at?
Inefficient planning.
Okay, thank you. Inefficient planning. I want you to look at it from this. I'll use the term that Fred used on the call. The reasons that you give yourself. See, what you tell others is secondary. You might tell something, but what do you actually believe the reason is? Do you believe in the reason that you are in control of, or it's out of control? Right? That's what's really important. In the CIP framework, we call it, do you take ownership for that? Do you own it up, or we call it renunciation? You're giving away power, you're giving away control to something outside of you. Now, giving control to something outside of you is not wrong, but it's just like, if you really believed in that, then you're almost saying that, hey, I can't do anything about this now because it's not in my control. It's about them, it's about the situation, it's about the system, it's about the circumstances. And here's the thing, all that is true. It's true. And you can't do anything about it. So you're literally doomed in that sense. You're stuck. But if you look at the other side of the coin, which is equally true, you can say, hey, I did not do something about it. I need to think about it. I will have to find a new way. I will have to alter something over here. You're reclaiming the control because now you can do something about it. So if your reason for not maintaining a high level of control is outside of you, then you're almost saying that, hey, next time also this will continue. I have no chance with this say-do ratio. I have no chance with my credibility beyond a point. Because it's not in your hands. It's outside of you. It's out of control. But if you believe that, hey, I'm in charge, then you can do something about it. So we're not finding fault. It's not like this is right and that is wrong, or it's not like this is morally right and that's absolutely like a criminal. No, that's not what it is. But it's about who's in charge. Do you want to take that control in your life, or do you want to let it be, give it away? Right? Now, the last question before we take some generic questions about the whole session. How do you know someone is taking ownership? How do you know somebody is operating from a high level of ownership? Where is that seen, or how do you recognize that?
When they keep their promises.
Their actions, you mean?
Uh, what they say, are they doing it, right?
Yeah. So whatever they say, they're doing in their actions. But this is about when they don't do it. Remember, the level of ownership is seen. Of course, it's seen when they do it, but it's seen in a better light when they don't do it, right? Because when they don't do it, is where you see the ownership in higher clarity. Is like, where's their finger pointing, right? Is it blaming, or is it complaining, or is it taking control of accepting it that, hey, I could have done something? So whether a person is taking ownership or not is always reflected in the way they speak. It's seen in their language. Right? And that's why we use this term called language of ownership and language of renunciation. And that's a tool that we present to you in the entire framework. It's seen in their language. It's seen in their speaking. Now, when I say language, I don't mean English, Kannada, Hindi, Sanskrit. That's not what I mean. I mean, it's there in your speaking. It's in your speaking, right? So I'm going to give you some situations and language of renunciation. I wanted to take a shot at this. If you had to operate from a high level of ownership, what would you say in the same situation? The situation is you missed a deadline. If the language of renunciation says, I did not get it done because they never sent me the data I needed, what would you say if you had to take ownership in the same, assume ownership in the same situation? You missed a deadline.
I missed the follow-up.
I missed following it up. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other try? Dilip, thanks. Why would you say that's a language of ownership, Dilip?
Because you were supposed to do it actually, and you know it. And when
Besides that, when you say I did not follow up, you say, hey, next time, then I'll follow up.
Yes.
Because if you say, hey, they didn't send me, you're left with out of control, right?
Yes.
Even next time you're saying only if they send me, I'll keep my deadline.
Yes.
The moment you say I will follow up or I did not follow up, right? You're claiming control of that situation.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I did not secure the necessary data, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. All right. If you were to receive feedback and somebody say, and you said something like this, you're making me feel like I did a bad job. If you were to take ownership for that feedback, what would you say instead?
I see what you mean, and I will look into the things which I can control, and yeah.
Yeah. You're
I
getting
guess
a hang of it. Yeah. By the way, there's no one answer.
Yeah.
There's no one answer. If there's an I in that, like, hey, I will review this, or Let me see what I can do, right? I will review my approach. While I didn't like the feedback, but let me review it. I'm in control. So I'm not like that. Last one, I've got 5 of them, but the last one, if there's a process breakdown, and Dilip, if you don't mind, I'll invite somebody else to share the answer this time. The system is too slow and prevents us from hitting the numbers. In ownership language, what would you say?
Switch to the other plan.
Okay, yeah, I'll change the process, or I'll see what I can do. Yeah, absolutely. I'll find a workaround. I'll define a new process. Right. So brilliant. So that's it. What we had, the 2 concepts that we promised to cover in this entire session in the last 1 hour. I know I've crossed the time by 4 minutes, right? But open for questions. Open for questions.
Sir, I have a question. Whether this say-do ratio always results in your reaching or achieving goal, or there's something called destiny or your karma, where a person repeatedly doing for many years some work might not get a results.
I'll not take the second part. I'll take the first part. Does keeping a high say-do ratio ensure results? It is a necessary condition, not a sufficient condition. It creates it. The possibility of you achieving results is very high when you maintain a high say-do ratio. It's a necessary condition, not a sufficient condition. There are many other things that you will have to do, of course.
Sir, in a corporate
About the karma,
environment,
I don't know. It's not part of the framework in any way, but I would leave that out. I think it's out of my control anyways.
Sir, I
May I
have.
respond to the other question?
Yes.
So it depends upon what you say. If what you say is not appropriate to the goal you want to achieve, then your very high say-do ratio will not take you to the goal.
You mean to say that whatever I am trying to benchmark the results or the goal is not in my subconscious mind?
Well, I don't know about subconscious. We are not talking about benchmarking goals. I'm saying you set a goal in whatever, taking into account whatever you want to take into account. You set a goal. To achieve
Okay.
the goal, you have to take some actions. So you say,
Okay.
I will take these actions. You plan for actions, right? But then, if the actions which you say you will take do to achieve the goal, if those actions are not appropriate, a very high say-do ratio about actions will produce zero result.
Yeah.
You will not achieve your goal. That's all I'm saying.
Devdutt, there is a question from Neha in the chat. What is the CIP about? I mean, if it's like exercises slash tasks in line with the framework.
Neha, great question. It'll take us a lot of time to explain that. But in short, CIP is about you causing incredible performance. That's what it is about. And it's a framework, and it's an action framework, there's a set of action principles and action framework. I think it's a great way to segue into the last part of today is what can you do next, right? So here are 5 things that you could do, and you could do all of them, right? One of the things that you could do, Vivekananda, I'll come back in a moment. You could join the CIP community, which is you could be a part of an online platform, right, where you get access to the entire framework, and you can watch videos on each of the aspects of the framework, and you can learn the CIP framework in short. 2, you can get coached on certain aspects of the credibility that we talked about itself, right? There's just one thing that you want to get coached on that. You can set up a call with one of us, and we can coach you on that. Or you can learn the entire framework, the entire CIP framework from us, right, in a more detailed way, what we call as the module 1 of our flagship program. or if you're somebody who wants to sponsor the program for your organization or your community, right, you can talk to us and we can more than happy to support you in taking the program. Or you also want to get coached on the framework itself in a way that you want to coach others in the framework, right? You're a consultant, you're a coach, you're a trainer, and you want to use the framework in your profession. We can support you in doing that as well. So any of this or all of this, just put it up on chat from the above list. What would you be interested in, right? On or before which date will you discuss this with us? And if you would be okay if we were to reach out to you regarding this matter. So in the chat window, you could write, say 1, 2, 3, I'm interested in, then put a date by when you would, or on or before which date you would discuss this with us. And would you be okay with this? Yes or no, right? And while you're putting on that, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to stay back on the call. But really, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for participation. Those of you who are leaving, right? Here are my coordinates. You're welcome to reach out to me on a phone, on WhatsApp, or send me an email, and I'll be happy to call you back or respond to you.
Thank you, Devdutt. Thank you, everyone.
I have a question, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Great. So I'm actually new to the entire leadership coaching front. My co-founder has been taking it for working with you guys for quite some time now. But I've always had this one question in mind, which is the entire CIP program or the framework. Do you guys focus on how do you sort of focus on resolving the root causes, not just the symptoms of sort of not achieving ideal performance? For example, like I am personally of the opinion that a lot of times you can't achieve your personal goals or goals in general is when, as a person, you are probably not very well emotionally regulated. For example, life throws different situations at you and you have to tackle all of that while sort of also making sure you're sticking to the plan. So, while it's great that you have all of these sort of pieces where, say-do ratio, for instance, like you try to maintain your credibility, but how do we solve the sort of the deeper issues that affects us while we are working on our respective plans, if that makes sense?
Is it okay we set up a call to answer?
No worries.
Right? Is that okay for you, Bhavita? Because I can't just say one thing and complete that. It'll require a little more question and exploring a bit. But yes, we can support you in even addressing the root cause, is what I can.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what are your
Have a
thoughts
deep view
on
on the
therapy sort of playing a role in that? Do you guys work in tandem, or do you think one is necessary and the other is not?
Our support system is coaching and not counseling or therapy.
That
Right.
absolutely.
And if one of the answers to that is therapy, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Sounds good. I'll write to you guys. I think
Yes, please. Just put it on chat so that it's there in record for us as well.
Sure.
That hey, here's a question that I would want more clarity on. One of us will call you.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, Dev.
Can I
Hey, Dev.
request, Devdutt,
Hi.
just 1 second. I want to request Balaji to respond to this,
Which?
to Momita's question.
Yeah, you said she asked two questions. Which one?
The
Therapy.
one on addressing not on therapy, the one on addressing the root causes first and then looking at possible goals and achievement. That one.
So I do not. Mamita, can you say what are those one or two examples of those deeper matters?
Right. So I'll not talk about my work for right now, but I can talk about my personal goals, right? So I had two goals, for instance, this week. One was that I wanted to start swim lessons, to keep it simple. And the other one was, let's suppose, I wanted to complete a book that I had sort of kept, right? Now what
Complete
happened
reading a
was,
book.
Yeah, reading a book. Two simple goals that I had for the week. I completed one of them, and the other one is still pending, right? And one of the reasons is because let's suppose I come from work and I'm really tired, and let's suppose I do not have the energy. I'm in a complete slump, right? And hence I could not get to reading the book. Now here, it makes sense that I can use ownership language, and I can make sure that completing, I'm trying to achieve the say-do ratio, the ideal say-do ratio. But there are certainly emotional regulations and factors in place that is affecting my performance, right? I don't know if this is the best example, but I hope that gives you some sort of clarity.
What is the deeper reason?
Um, I don't know. I don't
Okay.
think I have the answer to that.
So, well, that's why I think they said we need to discuss deeper.
That's fine.
But again, responding from what we covered in this webinar, result orientation versus action.
Mhm.
You say, I want to complete reading this book. That is action.
Yeah,
They said, the result which you want to get is the messages of the book.
correct.
Then reading is just one option.
So you would try and figure out different workarounds to achieve the same result.
How else can you learn the lessons or messages in that book?
A summary, like an audio summary that I can just listen
Yeah.
to.
So maybe the entire thing is the entire book in audio form, which you can listen to as you're driving back. Or you just go through a summary of it. It depends upon the result you want.
Okay.
Swimming, of course, you can't have audio swimming lessons. You have to jump into the pool.
I really hope we could, but clearly not.
No, you can always say, I want to know how to swim.
Mm.
Therapy, I'll answer the therapy also because I'm quite tempted to do it. I had the opportunity to coach people who are going through therapy.
Mhm.
CIP is not about therapy.
Yeah,
Why
absolutely.
these therapies did not work for them was that they were not doing according to what the therapist told them to do. In other words, they were okay. So the CIP work was about getting them to do the way it is supposed to be done.
Sure.
Then actually somebody in a period of 90 days, that person very religiously did according to how the therapy is supposed to be done. And his 30 odd years of skin problem came down dramatically. Okay.
Sure. Sounds good.
So, Dev, just
So
a
thanks for
question from
answering the question. Yeah.
Are you okay with the way I responded?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, Nidhi
So
was the
people can have their
sponsor
own
for this class.
perspective. So it's
Yes,
fine.
I'm fine with it, Balaji. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, somebody wanted a question.
Yeah, hi, Professor and Dev. Thank you for this session. And for me, this is almost like reliving my first session with the Dr. Professor Balaji from my yesteryears. Uh, uh, and I had one question primarily that I'm facing more of a challenge towards, right? Because I have a tendency to solve those problems which come in my way. Whenever I encounter them, I go with options saying, here are the solutions, these are the upside, downside to it. A lot of times I get pushed into scenarios where those are not my responsibilities. But because I have that quality to say, okay, once I get into it, I take ownership of it, right? I get pushed into a lot of scenarios which are not in my responsibility in my professional career. So how do I prioritize this? When do I say yes and when do I say no? I try to come up with this, but a lot of times, too many things get pushed my way.
I just If I can just get the last part of what you said. I get pushed, you said?
Yeah, in the sense that these things, let's say my superiors, right? I say no to that, then they say no, this is a crisis. Can you please handle it for this time for me, right? Or sort of every 2 weeks, something of this sort comes up. Some legal notice comes up, and I had to take it up because somebody either is not available or they're not competent enough to immediately respond to that, right? I keep getting pushed into this, and I have I wouldn't say I attempted. I say no to it. Thanks to learnings from Professor Balaji. I
Hey,
say no
where
to
did
it.
I teach you this?
Himalaya,
Okay.
right? You try to drink milk and you drink milk. So, I mean, there is nothing called try. Either you succeed or you fail. That was what he taught me. And I've always taken that in my this thing. So my only the thing is I keep saying no, but when the request, there are times where it becomes quite this thing that as a part of a team, greater good, you have to manage that. How do I prioritize these things? I know I'm just saying what would be the strategy, not particularly in this scenario, but how to say no. Because I have a good say to do ratio.
Yeah, Balaji, over to you.
Yes, I've already taught him that why he wants a second opinion on that. Okay. See, Vivekanand, if you know that this is a very frequent happening, keep a track for the last, let's say, 6 months. How many days were these unexpected requests or orders came for you? And how long did it take? Okay. And therefore, whatever word you're giving outside this, because these are unexpected, right? You can't predict.
Correct.
Whatever word you're giving is something which has to be kept in the remaining 50% of the time. Assume that 50% of the time you spend on these unexpected tasks which are given to you. Then you have only 50% of your time to do what you really need to do. You work only for that. Or if those other tasks were also given to you by your boss,
yeah,
you tell him or her, hey, listen, this is what you asked me to do or asked me to produce as a result. I'm working on it. Now you're bringing something else. Now you tell me which one do you want, which one will you prioritize? Why should I prioritize? Because my life is under your control. I am your victim. You ask your boss to prioritize.
Got it. So data-driven decision,
I don't know
prioritization.
about data-driven and all. It may be purely whimsical decision of the boss.
Got it. Thanks, Professor.
Bosses usual are whimsical rather than data-driven. If you are a boss, you will also realize it for yourself.
Hope not, Professor. Hopefully, I'll be better.
I'm sure you are better than them. You went through what? The EDP, is it?
Yes. First batch of EDP.
Wonderful. That was way back in 2014, 15.
Yes. And that helped me tremendously. Locus of control, order of reality, etc. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. You shared. I could see your face. Okay. Anybody else? Over to you.
Yes, I know we kind of thanked everybody for participating, but if you stayed back, anybody else? So for those of you who stayed back for this long, really thank you. I hope you found value in the conversation, and we would be more than happy to support you in taking this forward. Thank you very much.
Hey, there is a very long chat from Soya Verghese.
Yeah, I have responded to that.
Okay.
All right. So if there are no more questions or any way we can support you, thank you very much. Can we conclude the call?
Thank you very much, Dev. Thank you very much, Balaji.
Thank you for your time. Yeah.